Alright, this is the last step to finish the whole AR camera, virtual camera recording step. And from the last course, we have already captured the initial raw data for the camera. And if you are happy with that raw data, you can just slap those two sequences together, or you can create a master and just import those to individual clips and put them together, put the camera and the character performance together, and use the render button just to render straight out. But in some cases, we need to do some final adjustment of the keys for the camera we just recorded. Just get rid of some frame drops, or we need to tweak the motion to frame a little better, so we can export the camera motion into Maya and to do all the adjustment on the keys that we needed. And we can either render from Maya, or we can import the keys back into Unreal to render out the final smoothed out one. So if we go to the recorded sequence we just did from the last course, and I actually did 3 times, and I found one that I'm pretty happy with. We just need to go under the cameras folder in the sequencer group, and we found the cinematic camera actor, and right click, we have the export option. So this will export this camera motion as the FBX, has all the keys and rotation. Now if we go back to Maya, and this is the scene that we have for this shot that we build the animation from. And there's no camera in this shot for now. So now we're just gonna import the camera we recorded and do the keys adjustment here. Because Unreal export the animation clips or the cameras as FBX, so it's really easy to import back to other 3D software. Alright. Right now we have the camera imported. This is the camera with the whole AR virtual camera recording. And if we look through the camera, or let's look through the graph editor first. You can see this is all the keys we got from our virtual camera. And we got a little problem here because I made the same mistake. I chose the first frame as 001 when I'm recording, but in the scene our first frame is 1001, so I need to do the same scene, and you do the same animation offset of the camera keys just to offset 1000 frames later for the camera keys. Well, actually 950 frames, just to line up the first frame of our scene with the first frame in the sequencer. Okay, let's look through the camera. Okay, this is what we just recorded from the Unreal virtual camera, and we have successfully transported this data back into Maya for us to do the secondary adjustment. You see, like here we need a little key adjustment because the track is shifting a little bit. Maybe it's the lighting or whatever, the track is loose during this couple frames. But as long as we have a basic camera movement, it's very easy to get rid of this little mistakes. If we turn on the frustum, you see the camera goes back and has some crazy rotation. If we take a look at the graph editor, before we do specific keyframe adjustment, I would actually want to do an overall simplified curve, just to keep the whole motion there, and but I have less keys to worry about. So that function will depends on your tolerance of the keys. Depends on the tolerance of the keys, you can set how much you want the keys to be simplified. Maybe I lower the tolerance a little bit so I can keep more keys. Just try to keep the general waveform of the whole curves. I might lose a little bit more keys there, but I think it should be fine. Okay, let's see how the animation looks right now. This is a pretty standard step to clean up the mocap data if we consider this camera animation right now as a mocap. Alright, we got a smoother movement here for sure, and still had this handheld feeling. The camera is still a little drifting somewhere here. We may need to look into the keys to see what is going on. Let's see the X keys. Seems the translation keys are not drifting much, maybe a little bit. We just delete a couple keys there. The Z keys are pretty good. Maybe it's in the rotation. Okay, I think that's the rotation here. There you go. Just to delete a couple unnecessary keys, and that keys may come from a frame drop or some tracking issue. You can think this as a standard step to clean up mocap keys, like how we did to the characters. Remember in I think previous 2 chapters we cleaned up the characters typing animation, and this is just pretty much the same step. And I export to Maya to do the adjustment because it's just so much easier for Maya's graph editor to do this kind of task. Unreal graph editor is a little bit weird when doing some fine key adjustment. I just personally don't really like it. Here is the key here is the frame drop, so we can just get rid of it and just see if there's any other spikes. Okay, I think I might want to tilt the camera up a little bit. I kind of want to, aside from cleaning up keys from the graph editor, we can even put this camera into a different animation layer to have a secondary keyframe adjustment, just to tweak the framing a little bit. So maybe when we shoot it, the framing is not perfect, and later on we can use a camera layer to we can use animation layer to tweak the framing a little bit more. Like here, I want to frame everything up a bit. So I just add a key there. The first key is just trying to keep the animation before my adjustment. And just tilt everything up. Yeah. This is just we have a solid base animation from the mocap, and no matter what other adjustment we do, if we don't mess with it too much, we should still have this very natural, realistic feeling. And the best thing again is so much easier to tweak. It's so much easier to tweak after when you have something to start with, and it's almost, and it takes a lot less time. Like shooting it took probably like 10 minutes, and the secondary adjustment maybe take another 20 minutes, and there you have a really good camera motion. Here I kind of want to give a little rotation when he's shooting, just to break down the motion a bit. Might be a little too much, especially when doing this kind of long take. It's hard to make the camera motion natural if you keyframe it. So okay, so I'm pretty happy with the camera right now. Here, at this point, you can choose either to go forward with render in Maya, or if you want to import this camera back into Unreal to render everything from Unreal, you can do that too. So the way to do it is a little bit different. You can do the same camera rig import export like we did in the previous section, but here I'm going to introduce another way to directly export the camera FBX back into Unreal. So we're just gonna do the normal export from Maya, just the camera itself as FBX. Now we go back to Unreal in the sequencer that we just export everything from. Inside the sequencer, we're just gonna override the existing keys. So the way to do it is if you go under the cinematic camera actor, and on this level you right click, you can click import, and we select the smoothed camera. We just smoothed it from Maya, and This will override all the existing keys in the current camera and override with the keyframes that from our Maya. Because we did 950 frames shift, we need to shift it back to the beginning of the sequence, which is which is the 000. This is just another way to transfer camera motions between two softwares. But as I mentioned before, the disadvantage for this is we don't know the version for this camera because we only see the keys, and by doing the motion clip, we can have a better version control. So here is the final camera animation we captured from our virtual camera and tweaked inside Maya, and now we export back into Unreal to do the next step, either the environment or render out. So up till now, this pretty much covered all the workflow to use your iPhone as a virtual camera to do the camera motion capture in Unreal. Also, we talked a little bit about how to export mocap the data into Maya to do the final adjustment and re-import it back to Unreal to render for the next step. Okay, so this pretty much wraps up the whole tutorial. We actually covered a lot in this 32 courses. We covered all the way from concept, storyboarding, animation to tweak mocap animation, and we also talked about two different workflows. One is V-Ray offline rendering and the other one is real-time. And also in the end, we talked a bit about how to use your iPhone as a virtual camera to help you to create some really realistic handheld cinematography. And I also hope this tutorial gave you some other ideas about how to assemble things together and how to take shortcuts to create your own workflow. I'd love to share with you more in the future. Thank you very much for joining me in this tutorial. I'll see you next time.
Purchase genuine tutorial. Enjoy the question answering from course tutor in the long term. Join the exclusive Facebook group and learn from each other. Also, you can sign up with Yihu.com. Search for the course ID. Obtain the full learning courseware, project files. Follow us on Facebook. Get closer to become a master in CG field.